Alabama lost this weekend in a very close game to Oklahoma. So, boys and girls, it's time to double down. We're committing. We're jumping back into this. Roll Tide. Jordan Hair Voodoo.
Ooh. I'm going to rip that jersey off your face and throw it out the window.
What is up, everybody? This is the House Divided College Football Show. I'm your host, Micah, and we're going to jump right into it this week. Game number one, we had Notre Dame beat Pitt at Pittsburgh. The final score ended up being 37-15. Iowa lost to USC on the road. The final score ended up being 26-21. The Michigan Wolverines were playing the Northwestern Wildcats this weekend, and they won narrowly with a score of 24-22. Lane Kiffin and the boys were able to get the dub over Florida. Ole Miss ended up winning 34-24 in a comeback game against Florida. We're going to park here for a minute. This is the Alabama-Oklahoma game. Alabama ended up losing narrowly. The score ended up being 23-21 at Bryant-Denny Stadium, ending our 17-game home streak. It is the first loss this season since DeBoer has worn the black hoodie. Unfortunately, the game came down to a couple of turnovers. There were 3 to be exact. There was a fumble, an interception, and then a turnover on downs. We also allowed them to get a pick 6 off of the interception play. We got lucky with the second interception that there ended up being holding. Then we also got lucky on a fumble that happened. Oklahoma, the defense is incredible. Brent Venables, well coached. They are elite and they are aggressive and they will fight for the ball and they fight to win. The offense also did pretty good on both teams. Alabama ended up doing better. They had higher percentage stats, rushing and passing. Daniel Hill looks good this week. If it had not been for the pick 6, I believe it was an 87-yard pick 6. It was the second of that guy's whole career. Both were against Alabama. He had one last year and one this year. In comparison, though, last year's game was different to this game. And then also Connor Talty missed the kick. The snap was high. Then the Oklahoma player was also able to kind of get a hand on it. And so that kind of caused the kick to get off balance. And unfortunately, Alabama was not able to overcome some first half problems. You know, usually in the second half, you're able to overcome some of that. But unfortunately, that is what caused Alabama to lose that close game. Now, Oklahoma is a good team. It is a quality loss. And Alabama is still in it. We just have to beat Auburn. Unfortunately, we're in the nightmare scenario. But I think we can do it. And I think we will go to the SEC Championship. And I think either way, we go to the playoff. So, boys, I'm still in it. Roll Tide. Okay, guys, we had a very close game. We had the South Carolina-Texas A&M game. Now, that game ended up being a 31-30 game. And the team who was leading at the half, they were up. It was the biggest comeback for a team in Texas A&M history. It was quite impressive. Marcel Reed even put out an apology tweet for the first half. He threw an interception. They could not get things complete. There weren't complete passes. They just couldn't get things working in the first half. There were a lot of incomplete passes. It was just a disappointing effort by the Texas A&M offense, who was particularly very good and consistent. Just had a rough first half. Like I said, the gingerbread man just couldn't get it done that first half, but he came out in the second half. They worked things out in the locker room. They were able to come back and dominate in the second half with a very impressive comeback. They ended up winning by 1 point. It was 31-30. The defense showed up and held South Carolina, and it was awesome. Many of us, stopped watching the first half. We thought A&M was going to lose. And then we tuned back in a little bit later, just checking on the scores, and we were like, oh my gosh. Impressive comeback. Very impressed. Marcel Reed definitely should be in Europe for the Heisman. Georgia, Texas. What happened, Texas? Sark has the Texas problem. That's what we can say. I was quite disappointed. I thought Texas was maybe going to try to hang in. They had playoff hopes, and now those are dead in the water. But Georgia, y'all played a good game. I was very impressed. The defense looked good. Gunnar Stockton, the offense, also looked good. But Arch Manning did not look good for Texas. I was not very impressed. Final score ended up being Georgia 35, Texas 10. New playoff rankings came out. Now, you want to ask where Alabama fell to. They dropped 6 spots. They went from 4 to 10. And I kind of have an issue with that, mainly because of this. Notre Dame, they lost 2 games. Alabama lost 2 games. but the committee's holding the Florida State loss over us when we have arguably the best win. We ended Georgia's home streak. We went to Athens. We won that game in a close game against Georgia. Honestly, the best win of the year. I was quite disappointed in the committee. Honestly, the committee's just a bunch of theater, and I am very disappointed. We need to get a real committee. But Alabama had 4 ranked wins of ranked opponents, and Notre Dame has 1. Also, I thought we'd be above Oregon. We're going to struggle a little bit, and I think that they're a good team, but I think Alabama's better than them. I will be more acceptable of having them over us. I would like to be maybe 8, but I am fine with being number 9. We just have to go into Jordan Hare at night, and if we can survive the Auburn Tigers, we're gonna do some good stuff. Georgia, you're number 4 now. You earned it. Also, Miami, Notre Dame, they're going to have to compare those. They didn't compare them, and the committee's going to have to compare those. We also had Tulane get in. John Summerall, future coach of Auburn, very impressed there. We've got a lot of shakeups coming. We're going to have to see who's getting in for the ACC. We're also going to have to see who is going to be that group of 5 team. Is it going to be Tulane? Is it going to be North Texas? Is it going to be Navy, James Madison? And it's all still up in the air. We got 2 more weeks of playoff rankings before Selection Sunday, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Okay, boys and girls, it's time to enter Sandman because Virginia Tech has hired James Franklin to be their next head coach. Now, I think with the right recruitment, the right coaching implements a mix of maybe what he had at Penn State, looking nationally, and some of the folks that love Virginia Tech. I think James Franklin can rebuild this program. He can get a system in place, and maybe not next year, but in a few years, I think that they can be a good contender in the ACC and potentially make it to the playoff. I love James Franklin. I think he's an amazing coach. I think Penn State's going to look back in the future, and they're going to regret this firing decision. And I think Virginia Tech, you guys made the right hire. He looks good. He is going to put the Hokies back on the map, hopefully. And I know Florida State's kicking themselves right now because that could have been their coach. But yeah, I think it's going to be great for the ACC. It's going to be great for James Franklin and great for Virginia Tech. So go Hokies. Okay, everybody. We have 2 big games to pick. The first one is the Oregon USC game. Honestly, this is going to be a very important game because it does have playoff implications. I think USC will put up a fight, but I think Oregon will win in a close one. And for sure, I think that the Ducks will get this one done under Dan Lanning and Dante Moore. And from there, I do believe that they are going to make it into the playoff. USC, you guys have put up a good fight. But for sure, I think Oregon gets in. They're not going to make it to the Big Ten Championship. I think that's going to come down to some crazy things that we'll talk about in next week's episode. But yeah, give me Oregon in this game. Now, a lot of people are saying, could this be the upset of the week? And I don't know. A lot can happen. It is going to be a tough game for Oklahoma. But I think Oklahoma can get the job done. I think without Bo Pribula, I don't think Missouri's going to get the job done. For sure, I think that Brent Venables' defense and John Mateer, who's only getting healthier, I think that they are going to have a great game. I think they are a lock for the playoff, and I do think that they are going to win this one. The Sooners are going to Boomer Sooner their way into the college football playoff, and they're just happy Texas didn't get in. So, to Brent Venables, awesome. Drinkowitz, you've had a good season. You're a great coach. You'll have a great team. But I do think Oklahoma will win in this game. But I do think Missouri will put up a fight. Okay, another speed round for predictions. Give me Nebraska over Penn State. I just think that Nebraska can get the job done. Penn State has not looked super consistent. And honestly, after the whole James Franklin firing, I don't like Penn State. I think you guys did the wrong thing, got a little bad blood. But I do think Nebraska can put up a fight. I think Nebraska, maybe with some of the coaches that could be leaving Penn State, maybe that's going to shake Penn State up a little bit. Maybe some of the players could be entering the transfer portal now that we know where James Franklin's going. So I'm hoping some of that instability there is maybe going to create a window for Nebraska and Matt Rule to get it done. They've got Emmett Johnson, and they've got an amazing backup quarterback. I think backup quarterback PJ Lateef will get the job done potentially, and I hope that they win this game. Go Huskers. Give me Georgia Tech over Pitt. I think that Georgia Tech will win this one in a close one, but Coach Pat Narduzzi just puts the doozy in Pittsburgh. So Georgia Tech all the way. We got another close one, but I think BYU will make it to the Big 12 championship, and I do think they beat Cincinnati this weekend, but Cincinnati, I said, will put up a fight. Tennessee, Florida. It's going to happen in the Swamp. Now, Florida has been able to win this game a lot, and I'm going to say this. Don't count Florida and DJ Lagway out. So I'm going to say this. I think Tennessee goes down to the Swamp, and they lose to Florida. Florida wins this game in a close one, and it's going to be a fun game to watch. Okay, I think these last two are very easy. They're going to be happening at the same time. Auburn, Mercer. Are you joking? Give me Mercer. I'm kidding. Give me Auburn in this game. Now, Mercer, if you can beat them, beat them. But I think that Auburn will get the dub. This will set up for a good Iron Bowl. And then on the flip side of that, I think Alabama will beat Eastern Illinois. It will be a good little win and a good little, tee up for the Iron Bowl. We will be going to play Auburn at the Iron Bowl next week. It's going to be a 6:30 night game in Jordan-Hare. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen. We're going to have to overcome some Jordan-Hare voodoo. And I'm going to have a special guest back with us. The house will be divided again. Ethan Jones is joining us. We're going to get into all the Iron Bowl stuff and rivalry week games. And it's going to be great. We're going to have an awesome time. And to that, we're looking forward to Thanksgiving and the Christmas holidays coming up and the college football playoff. So, guys, thank you for watching the House Divided College Football Show. This has been your host, Micah. This has been episode 12. Double down, and we're going to be going into episode 13 this week, the Nightmare Scenario. See you guys later. Peace.